I mean, you mentioned um, you had a goal in line with like the engineering stuff. You're saying that kind of like took the back burner. You've kind of
Yeah, because I mean,
changed your outlook.
I think I'm building not a new lane specifically, but I'm building a lane that is kind of a whole bunch of things. And you did mention about like the record exec type of energy of what I'm, and that's kind
Record
of
label,
a record label
360, bro. Don't
360. Like,
don't. Try
give me 10 more years and I think I can make it worth it to sign a 360 with me because
to-
I would know I would know the full kind of scope of even now I think it'll be a dope thing too. But the only thing is
360 would be dope.
no for people to sign 360 with me because I will it's like a management fee, like
No,
I will be able to open up a lot of different avenues for
hey, no
people.
Diddy, bro.
No Diddy
Bro,
though.
360 is
No, yeah,
like
but
that's your soul, bro.
nah, but no, keep your soul, please, and also keep your baby oil. I don't want that. Like, I am very much confident in my ability to like meet ladies and not have to do exploitation. I don't need to exploit guys either. That's crazy work, man. Keep that to yourself. You know, don't
Okay.
expose yourself. Don't open yourself to exploitation. Don't follow these influencers and end up employed, or being human trafficked to Russia and
Mm.
making drones like a lot of these young ladies were not too long ago. Like literally, the story broke now this week that a lot of influencers were getting paid to fly out to Russia and say, "Yo, you can come work here. It's really great." And it turns out, you're being trafficked to go flip and build drones for the Russian war, man.
Hey, that's wild.
I mean,
Is that like true, like factual
it's a
information?
it's a real thing. A lot of the influencers now, and the thing is, it's not like influencers like people we watch necessarily because we watching American stuff like that. To be fair, but it's like the local homies, like a lot of the local influencers, a lot of like the lifestyle TikTokers and the
Oh,
lifestyle
okay, okay.
vloggers in South Africa, especially the ones who get the makeup deals and stuff like that. Like they were actually selling out our girls, man, to
Oh, this is
Russia.
like South Africans.
Yeah,
Damn.
and it's a local thing. It started popping on my TikTok now the last 2 days, but apparently it's been happening for a few months, and it just like got exposed now. Like, where are you sending these girls?
So they didn't know. Oh,
They
they.
didn't know, but they were being paid off. Like, yeah, sure, take a sponsorship deal, but like actually do your research. Just because you're promoting a VPN doesn't mean like a VPN is like is the best thing to put on your computer. Just like the same way it's blocking traffic or rerouting traffic for you, where is it routing the traffic to?
What are you under the weather?
Nah, it's just dust. It's when you have a big nose, man. Just breathing the wrong stuff sometimes.
Oh, damn. Okay, so when you gonna start this label thing, bro?
Um,
When you gonna get it off the ground?
when I have money to spend on other people, that's the real question, man. Like, I can be like a reverse Diddy. Like, if people pay me to be,
A reverse Diddy.
like I'm saying, like if they pay me rather than me take money off of your earnings, is if I'm able to position you so that you can pay me to give you opportunities. Something can be like formulated out of this, and I think I don't know how that looks because a lot of times, and there's no knock against artists. I understand it's kind of how the industry has sold the dream to people, but a lot of artists feel like because they are kind of the center of the wealth generation cycle that they shouldn't pay for access. They should be paid to be in front of things, and then people just take a cut of. And it makes sense a lot of
What do you mean by?
like signing bonuses or getting. Let's say I'm a young rapper from Kailicha and I go to a record label. I am actually looking to them to pay me to for them to do work. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like I want you to pay me for you to work, which is such an interesting concept. And I think it's I think the music industry especially is one of those spaces where people actually think like that. Like, I should be paid for that person to work. Which I mean, fair enough, it's kind of like the dream that's sold with the music industry, but it's not necessarily how business in general works. Like, usually you pay someone to receive a service. And that's why Diddy was such a big figure. Because his payment was favors. Like, yo, I have resources, I have money.
But that's like values. It's like it's almost like the same thing.
No,
It is.
100%.
It's like how it works.
No, definitely. Like, that's the chat. Like, I mean, you give me your body, and I'll give you money. Whereas, and it becomes, that makes sense. It's a value exchange.
Yeah.
But a lot of people think that you should just give me money, and you also work. Because in reality, a lot of times what happens is a lot of the best artists, unfortunately, are not in completely mentally stable situations in their life. A lot of the best artists came from really awkward and already not good situations. I think about Justin Bieber and stuff. He was like obscure. He was in a single parent household. He was trying. He was already trying to use music as a tool to lift his family out of and not even necessarily him. His mother was encouraging him to use music as a tool to uplift his family situation
As a teenager.
as a
Like
teenager.
when he blew up with Baby.
Yeah, before that, he was on YouTube. He used to post a lot of covers and street perform and bus, kind of like Ed Sheeran too. And you know,
Yeah.
then Usher saw him and was like, "Shout out! I know Diddy's ready." And
Yeah.
and so then you're actually ripe for exploitation as an artist if you're not kind of aware of that's kind of like the
You're
pipeline.
ripe.
Yeah, you're right.
You're ripe.
You're ripe for exploitation, bro. Because you have to be
Yeah.
slightly vulnerable actually for that
Most of them are.
business to work. Yeah. I mean, think about Mariah Carey. She started when she was a teenager, like really young, and they gave her a whole platform. I mean, what was the payment for that? Who knows? Yeah, like a lot of them. Aaliyah, R.I.P. She didn't last long because they didn't perhaps have enough utility for her. And it's dark, but these kind of how some of these situations work out, and so it's important to kind of like keep that in mind when you're kind of shopping around for a deal or like trying to push. Sometimes you have to be the one that goes to the job and then just pay for access rather than give yourself as the payment for access to bigger platforms.
Yeah, that's why some musicians talk. I think Lupe, for example, I think he was talking about just signing a distribution deal, or even just signing a deal just for touring.
Yeah,
Like it's just specific to what you need, and then the rest
at that moment in time. Yeah, definitely.
I think who else in South Africa?
Contracts should have two things very important: exit clauses and time limits. All contracts should have time limits. You should never see anything like indefinite in a contract, unless it's something like, let's say you've created something and you want to sell it, not royalties or leasing or whatever, because royalty is a form of rent. If you want to sell, then obviously that's an indefinite because that person owns it now. But most contracts, business contracts, they should have a time limit to them. I mean, that's what normal work is like. Like, you go to a job, they say, okay, kind of looking to fulfill this role for the next 3 years. Sign on. We'll see at the end of 3 years where what your position looks like, and maybe you can be, upgraded, promoted. But like, yeah, all contracts should have time limits, and a lot of these music contracts do not have time limits, but you're still beholden to the idea of a project. So they'll say 3 albums. Now you have to legally define what an album means. Is an album officially a body of work regardless of financial performance or success? In a lot of these contracts, no. An album is a specific kind of financial remuneration, which is a payback of the initial loan and a percentage on top of that.
Yeah, so you can make like 5 bodies of work, and they're like, nah, this is not it.
Yeah, that's not all mixtapes. They will change the definition of the work that you put in order to fulfill what is the end of the contract, you know? So yeah, it's like it's a whole thing. But that's why I think I'm the right person to sign the 360.
It was interesting. You mentioned um, that musicians, I think, kind of like are the center of wealth generation, in the context of like
Artists, yeah, artists in general
artists,
are the center of wealth generation
like what in the entertainment.
in life. They're the only job or work that creates something from nothing, or something that's intangible and creates a physical product out of something intangible. Everything else is a transformation business. Whether it's a service like I cut your lawn, or it's like I walk your dog, or I build a house. Those are physical stuff that gets transformed. And I mean, there's an argument to be said that creativity itself is physical because it's in your brain, and your brain is a physical housing of something. But artists are the only people that generate from the intangible into the tangible, and everything else is tangible to tangible transformation.
Okay, okay, I see what you're saying, but and then like, isn't then the idea of the art, then if it's a painting, the idea comes from the mind, and then you paint it, it becomes physical, right? Similar to the idea of, I don't know, a product. It starts in the mind, and then you build it. Wouldn't that be like the same kind of
Yeah, definitely. Like your mind is the
factory?
yeah, is the lens, is the factory for that. Whereas, yeah, building a building also comes from a mind, sure. And that's why architects are very close to artists, because they are probably the most formalized technical form of art creation, because you have to kind of work with actual physical limitations in order to then create a building and stuff like that.
Then why the hell are artists suffering so much if they are the center of this?
Because it's something
wealth?
it's something that I learned from
We all artists then.
we are all artists, because I mean, you kind of imagine sentences, the words is there, but you create the sentences. But beyond that, and very probably connected to what that is that the creation element is kind of on the bottom level of the pyramid. It can reach great heights if you partner the creative act with the ability to execute on that creative act with a large amount of people. That's where the whole thing about ghostwriting and that comes in. The reason why you make more money, i.e., Drake and that, if you incorporate other people's ideas and claim them as your own, is because now you're running a business. You're actually creating employment around you, and you're actually incorporating more people in order to create these bigger structures that society kind of values. Society values creativity from a single person, yes. But one thing that I discovered, which was so interesting, is like a lot of these big sculptures that they claim is made by artists. Who builds the sculptures? It's not actually the artist. It's a whole bunch of interns and construction workers and people,
labor force
labor force that gets employed. The pyramids